Welcome to Old Folks Racing PlayStation. Welcome to 2022 Round 1. We're all back again for more racing and more fun. And what better fun could we have than using the McLaren 650S GT3 car in the Texas Motor Speedway. Not the oval like in the screen, but the road course with that intersection, which is going to prove quite tricky for the old folks. This is race 1, pole position Jorge Jesus, and all the familiar names of Old Folks Racing PlayStation coming back for another season of racing. Diogo Silva is on the front row, Cavalli and Scott Davely on the second row, Peter Adrian and Darren Head on the third, the lights out and away we go here at Texas Motor Speedway, and that has been a good start by Jorge Jesus, but also a good start by Diogo Silva. And they run side by side in the oval, but will they run side by side in the hairpin? The answer is no. Someone is using the low line there, which is shorter but not faster, as you can see. Oh, there's a crash there. There's a tap between and this was absolute carnage. I don't know who tapped who, but there was a white car that tapped a yellow car, and I think the yellow car that has been tapped was Cavalli, and this is the action replay. This is from Scott Davely's perspective. He's on the high side of the oval, and there's Diogo Silva in front of him and Cavalli on his left, and someone is going to tap Cavalli into a spin. Yes, that is what has happened. Cavalli tapped into a spin, and everyone else absolutely nowhere to go. A traffic jam in downtown Texas, and let's see if we can figure out who it was that tapped Cavalli into a spin. This is from Darren Head's perspective. He's on the outside and he probably missed. Oh no, he didn't miss, because he got a lighter step from Simon Allen, who was trying to avoid the carnage and collided with Darren Head. Look at this traffic jam. This is from Jumbo's perspective, and I think it may have been Peter Adrian that I think it was Peter Adrian that missed his braking point there. And look at this, how everyone is trying desperately to go back to the track. This is Jumbo. Jumbo has dropped to last, which is 13 today. 13 drivers. That's quite a good turnout for this first race of the season. Here's Andrew. He's a newcomer to Old Folks Racing PlayStation. Welcome. He's already in an excellent 8th place, and he did a good job avoiding all the carnage in turn 2. Well, we didn't have turn 1 carnage because turn 1 is still in the oval. It's quite difficult to have carnage there, but turn 2 was, of course, as expected, quite tricky. And here is he. Oh, and he's tapping. I think it's Frankie on the back there, and of course the two hairpins here in this Texas road course. You see quite different braking points, and Frankie lost a position there. Is down into 8th place. Todd Antonio is behind these two. He's in 9th, and here is Andrew now. Let him in through, and that's quite good to see, of course. High level of sportsmanship here in Old Folks Racing PS1. Look at this, Todd Antonio is trying to take advantage as well, and he's going on the inside of the oval, and they collide almost. Well, they do collide, but neither of them loses much time, and this shows how tricky it is to overtake even in the oval. Look at this, Todd Antonio is missing his braking point and is going to be tapped on the back by I believe Scott Davely, who is recovering and now is on the outside of Todd Antonio. We are on lap 2. Jorge Jesus, by the way, has maintained the lead and has already almost 3 seconds over Diogo Silva, as we see Scott Davely now completing a pass in the chicane. And Todd Antonio actually loses another position to Darren Head as well. A number of drivers that have been involved in the turn 2 carnage. That's Jumbo, Cavalli, Darren Head, Scott Davely. They're all in recovery mode. Look at this. This is Diogo Almeida and Diogo Silva. Diogo Silva taking the low line there, and Diogo Almeida taking the high line, which is slightly longer but also faster. And Diogo comes back to the main track in front of Diogo Almeida. This is the battle for second place, and Diogo Almeida is thinking about making a move. Look at this, Jorge Jesus already with almost 3 seconds in the lead of this race. Peter Adrian on the outside and Simon Allen on the low line. This is again the battle for 7th place between Frankie, Andrew and a recovering Scott Davely, who is behind these pair of drivers. Look at this, Frankie missing the braking point almost in the... Oh, and they collide as he comes back into the racing line. And I think Frankie was trying to keep a side-by-side line. Oh, look at this. This Scott Davely now hits Frankie in the back. And this is not a replay of what happened. Yes, it is a replay of what happened. Scott also missed his braking point there. Frankie now in the grass, but coming back into the track. All sorts of action happening here in the Texas Motor Speedway as and now Frankie goes out on his own. Absolutely extraordinary. And here is Diogo Almeida trying to get around Diogo Silva. This is the battle for 2nd place. Diogo Silva trying to break the draft and moves to the low line to try to avoid Diogo Almeida from drafting him. This is great racing stuff, and a variety of lines are possible in the oval without a penalty. That's a very specific feature of this particular track, Texas Motor Speedway, in Project Cars 2. Because of the pit lane entry and the pit lane exit, you are allowed to use that part of the track. But look at this, this is the problem. It's Simon Allen. It's the banking that basically ends, and when you go back to the banking, the car just jumps away from you, and we've seen that over and over again in this race. You just saw it with Simon Allen. This particularly happens in the turn 1, and Dale Taylor is now with the onboard. We haven't seen a lot of Dale this afternoon. Where is he? He's in 5th place. That's not a bad position at all. Simon Allen has recovered to 4th, and well, Peter Adrian is in 6th place, and these 3 drivers are actually... Look at this, Peter Adrian now on the inside of Dale Taylor. That was a good move by the British driver, and Dale Taylor misses the racing line at the exit of the hairpin, and now misses a lot of momentum going into the oval as everyone in this group takes the low line. This is not a tricky corner when you come back to the banking, but if you do it in turn 1 like Simon Allen was doing, it just creates potential problems. And look at this, the gap at the front is now much reduced. We haven't seen what has happened to Jorge Jesus, but he has lost some time. Look at this, this is now Peter Adrian on... and Peter Adrian is on a run here. He is going to 4th place. He's going on the inside of Simon Allen, and that was quite an opportunistic movement, but very, very well executed by the number 99 McLaren, and Simon Allen drops to 5th. This is Darren Head. He's in 7th place. Of course, he got involved in that incident in turn 2, now trying to recover. We have not seen... and Darren Head has recovered now into... he's in the track, but I don't think that particular bit is a part of the track. Presses the reset button and loses a position, loses 2 positions to Jumbo and to Andrew respectively. Diogo Silva is... look at this, he's now almost behind Alonso Fonso, the race leader since the beginning. We are on lap 5, and the race is going to be 16 laps, so still quite a lot of racing to go here. And Diogo Silva is now trying to study his opponent and trying to get a bit of draft. The drafting effect in this car is not huge, but is still helpful. Look at this, now he's taking a wide line there, Jorge Jesus, and he's trying to maintain a cool head in this pressured environment, but Diogo Silva is sensing that he could actually get into the lead of this race. He has a chance to go for the win, and Diogo Almeida is not far behind. We have a Portuguese 1, 2, 3 as it stands. Simon Allen has recovered 4th place, and in fact Peter Adrian has dropped back to 6th. Something has happened to Peter Adrian which the cameras have not caught, but the battle for the lead is actually very, very hot indeed. And look at this, now Diogo Silva is probably able to draft, and maybe he's going to try to make a move. Alonso Fonso drops back to the low line, the no banking line, and Diogo Silva just follows him at this point. That's the most important thing for the car behind, is just follow the car in front and try to benefit from as much drafting effect as possible, recognizing that is not, oh look at this, is cutting there into turn 1, not able to make a move this time round. Now maybe he's going to do a dive into turn 2. Is he close enough? I don't think so. Alonso Afonso breaks, so does Diogo Silva. No move in this particular lap. It's already lap 7. Of course we have a pretty short lap here. Look at the leader, 117 flat, Diogo Silva 116.384, and he's definitely faster at this point than Jorge Jesus. Into the infield chicane, and then into one of the many hairpins of this infield course, and Jorge Jesus here, running slightly wide there. Diogo Silva running a slightly tighter line through that hairpin. Now there is another hairpin that takes you back into the oval, and these two continue to, Jorge Jesus is spinning, and he presses the reset button. He's again on the move, but lost the lead to Diogo Silva, and also lost second place to Diogo Almeida. What a major turning point in this race in lap 7. This is the action replay from a few moments ago. This is probably what has happened to Peter Adrian. He's basically, this was and that's multiple contacts between Simon Allen and Peter Adrian. That was a little bit clumsy, to say the least, by Simon Allen. I think he just lost it when coming back into the banking oval, and this is more action. This is again Simon Allen. No, it's not. And Peter Adrian just lost it on his own as well. Almost entering the pit lane, avoids it, and does he avoid entering the pit lane? He's got to reverse from there, otherwise he's going to have to, and he enters the pit lane, and now it's probably game over for Peter, and he's going to lose a lot of time at pit lane speed, and thankfully he did not get disqualified for entering the pits too fast, as he managed to stop just before the pit lane. But he's going to lose a lot of time, and yes, indeed, he has dropped to last, as Cavallan is now making a move on, on someone, which I couldn't figure out who that was. It was Darren Head, or no, it was Andrew. I apologize. A lot of black. No, it was Darren Head. I apologize. We do seem to have a lot of black liveries in this race, so Cavallan, that has in fact lost a lot of time in the beginning of the race, is now up into 8. Darren Head having a bit of a shocker. He lost time in the beginning of the race, and then lost time with a couple of spins, and interestingly almost in the same place just before the chicane, as you basically are in the infield section. He's down into 10th place. Peter Adrian, as I mentioned, of course, with a full pit lane entrance, he lost a lot of time. He's 7 seconds behind Frankie, so maybe he will be able to recover some ground. The 59, the white 59, now Diogo Silva is in the lead of the race, but Diogo Almeida continues to be behind him in 2nd place. Alonso Afonso, Jorge Jesus, after that spin, is in 3rd. Simon Allen now maintains 4th, and Dale Taylor is coming back at him, so we will have a battle for 4th place very, very soon. Scott Davely is up into 6th. That was a good recovery. Also Jumbo in 7th, which is also a good recovery. Cavallan in 8th, Andrew in 9th, Darren Head in 10th, followed by Todd Antonio, Frankie, and Peter Adrian, that is still sitting in last place. Look at this, Del Taylor almost losing it at the exit of the hairpin, and won't be able to have and this is Scott Davely running slowly. Something has happened to Scott Davely. Is he running slowly? I'm not sure, but he definitely seemed to have some sort of problem in there. Maybe it's just my imagination, and certainly the sense of speed in an oval is quite challenging to capture in the TV camera, but it seems that everything is fine with Scott Davely. 1:17.9 was his last lap, which is a pretty decent time in line with the leading group. Look at this, the battle at the front is getting hotter, and they are trying to run faster. 1:16.466 for Diogo Silva, 1:16.499. That's 33 thousandths of a second between the two leaders. And look at this, this is what I was talking about again. Taking the low line in turn 1, the car does get very unsettled when you go back into the banked area of the Texas Motor Speed Oval. So I wonder if in race 2 there's going to be some official recommendation. Frankie is also doing it in turn 1. We couldn't quite figure out if his car was unsettled or not. Peter Adrian is now only 4 seconds behind Frankie, so we might have a battle for 12th place in the late stages of this race. We are about to enter, we are already on lap 10 out of 16. Let's look at the battle at the front. This is absolutely brilliant. Last lap, Diogo Silva maintained his time 1:16.6 and Diogo Almeida 1:16.9, so 1.5 seconds between the two, but still very much everything is in play in this race. What an opening round we're having here in Old Folks Space Station. We do have the old folks coming back that we know and love from the 2021 season. We have a couple of new faces, but we for sure have a very, very competitive field with battles throughout the field, and this is a battle for 7th place now between Jumbo and a recovering Kev Allen. That took him a while to start his recovery, but now he's actually set into a rhythm and actually making up a few positions. Look at this, going there into the curbs in the chicane. That's never a very good idea, particularly if your traction control is on. It will also unsettle the car, and certainly you saw that, a little bit of that with Jumbo, but Jumbo is already acknowledging the pressure. He's trying to defend on the inside, but look at this, Kev Allen is having much better run, a much better run at the exit of the hairpin. And now who will take the low line? And the answer is no one, of course, because Jumbo didn't take it. And of course Kev Allen, all he's interested now is in keeping himself in a drafting position, and he's going to try to make a move into turn 2 most likely. Look at this, he's coming on a run, but here is not very easy to overtake. On the inside is not easy to overtake on the outside either, so he's going to have to wait and try to make a move into turn 2. He certainly seems to be very close to Jumbo. Jumbo goes on the inside line, Kev Allen goes on the outside, not possible to make a move, but now he comes a little switcheroo and Kev Allen executes a perfect maneuver. Absolutely brilliant racing between these two drivers. Everyone gave each other space, and Kev Allen has executed a perfect dummy to take 7th place from Jumbo, who obviously drops to 8th spot. Next in line is Scott Davely for Kev Allen. He might still be able to recover, but it's a bit of a high ask because they are 7 seconds apart. The gap at the front has increased now to 2 seconds as Diogo Silva seems to be for the time being under control in this race and open his account in 2022 with a win. Of course, the champion not only from the winter season, the autumn season, I apologize, of 2021, that's the last season of last year, but also the overall champion of 2021, opening his account in 2022 with a victory would be the perfect start. And what a race for the Portuguese drivers. They are 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Alonso Afonso, Jorge Jesus was on pole position. He led a large part of this race, but then spun on his own at the hairpin. Of course, very easy to spin in that particular hairpin if you just happen to have your wheels in the wrong place at the wrong time with a high acceleration level. You just need to be very careful on the throttle, because on the other hand you do have to attack this hairpin, otherwise you lose a lot of speed into the oval section that Dale Taylor and Simon Allen are now about to start. Look at this, Simon Allen taking the low line, Dale Taylor preferring, well, he was hesitant there for a little bit, but now he's on the inside line, and you can see the inside line, basically you kiss the barrier. You almost go through the pit entrance, and then you go back into the banking and start off another lap for Dale Taylor. In this case, it's lap number 13 out of 16. Scott Davely is in 6th, and he's actually not that far behind Dale, and in fact he's quite close to Dale, and Dale took the low line there in turn 1, and as you can see, that wasn't necessarily the fastest way to go around that particular corner, and certainly he seems to be a bit unsettled. His car not giving him what he wants, the grip that he wants. Dale Taylor is struggling a little bit, and the American driver Scott Davley, of course at home in his home country but not his home state, is trying to get into a top 5 position in this race and also start the year on a positive note. The Portuguese have locked the podium for the time being, but certainly we can see a lot of talent in the best of the rest group in this race. Simon Allen, Dale Taylor, Scott Davley. Look at this, Dale Taylor going a little bit wide, and Simon Dale Taylor came back into the racing line, and this was almost a disaster, but not quite. Scott Davley did well there to avoid any major consequences from this contact, and he certainly got a position out of it because Dale Taylor lost all the momentum with that contact and is now down into 6th place. And this is not over because Kev Allen is coming at him. He's certainly faster. Look at this, 1:21 in the last lap for Dale Taylor, and Kev Allen in 7th place, 1:17 flat, and this is potentially a great battle for 6th place brewing up for the last part of this race. 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Jumbo is also getting very close to Kev Allen, so we may have a 3-way battle for 6th place if Dale Taylor continues to have these issues with his grip and his car behavior. Certainly we are going to see if this South African driver is able to hold on into that 6th spot. This is the rookie. The debut for Andrew has been positive. He's certainly set very competitive times. He was there up there in the beginning of the race, lost a couple of positions, but still 9th place. He is ahead of Darren Head, for example. He is ahead of Frankie, ahead of Peter Adrian, and ahead of Todd D'Antonio. So still a pretty good debut for him, and we hope to see him very regularly in Old Folks Racing PlayStation, as now Darren Head is with his onboard, and this is Todd D'Antonio in the hairpin. We are going through the field. It does not seem to me that Darren Head is going to be able to put pressure on Andrew because he's too far behind, but you never know what the last couple of laps will bring us in this race. 1.3 seconds at the front. Certainly Diogo Silva seems to be in control, but just Peter Adrian has found Frankie. Peter Adrian has had an eventful race culminating in almost like a drive-through in the pit lane, where he couldn't reverse out of his position, ended up entering the pit lane. He's trying to salvage some additional points, and certainly this is the battle for 12th place. Every point counts in this league. Look at this, Peter Adrian is probably going to go on the low line, and so does Frankie, so they both choose the same line. But look at this is the problem, and the car does get a bit unsettled when you go back into the banking, as I mentioned several times. I think Peter Adrian tried to brake very late, and he's going to go for it in the beginning of the last lap. They touch, but still I think that was a perfectly valid move because Peter clearly had the control over his car and had a completely adequate racing line. It was just that when Frankie was trying to get back into the racing line, the two cars just pointed to the same piece of real estate. Nevertheless, Peter Adrian, good overtaking there for 12th spot. Diogo Silva is under pressure from Diogo Almeida. We are on the last lap, just a few corners to go, and I think Diogo is going to be able to maintain his lead because he's for now avoiding the drafting. Any drafting from Diogo Almeida. I think he's just taking it conservatively on the last lap, and now he just has to press the full throttle absolutely flat out to the finish, and he's going to win race 1, the opening race of the opening round here at Texas Motor Speedway with the McLaren GT3. The checkered flag is in the air, and the Diogos have a 1-2 with the headlights, and it's also a Portuguese 1-2-3. It's going to be an entirely Portuguese podium. Simon Allen, who is himself a champion of Old Fox Racing PlayStation, has to settle for 4th place today. Scott Davley ends up an eventful race with a top 5, and that's probably the most that he could salvage after that opening lap incident. 6th is Del Taylor, 7th is Cavallan, 8th is going to be Jumbo, 9th on his debut is going to be Andrew, and 10th is going to be Darren Head. He's probably hoping for better things in race 2. 11th is going to be Todd Antonio, 12th is going to be Peter Adrian, and Frankie is going to complete the finishers. Everyone that has started the race has finished it, and 13 drivers is a pretty decent turnout for Old Fox Racing PlayStation. We do hope to see a full lobby in upcoming rounds with a few drivers not here today, Stuart Brand, Mike Langley, amongst others. We do hope to get into a full lobby as we see now the end of the race, and what a race it has been. More to come in race 2 of Old Fox Racing PlayStation. This is the opening round of 2022, and based on this we can say it's gonna be a great year. See you in race 2.